What's going on? My name is Ninja Cowboy. I'm an Apex Legends coach, and I'm going to be running through a quick ranked game here where I'm using a flatline and primarily an R99. We're running through the game, running double snipers on our team. I'm running the close quarters kit. They're running the long range kits, and I'm going to kind of get through how you can start employing some of the tactics that me and my team used more effectively in your own gameplay with your friends, and try and get through these Elo Hell style ranks such as Platinum, Gold, maybe even Diamond this is applicable to. So looking here, planes coming from artillery shooting across the Skull Town.
Why do you guys not want to be jumping?
Ignore all of my ridiculous nonsense that I spit out and a lot of my potato aim. This is a game where I display a lot of potato aim. So just spare me the comments on that one. So we're going to be dropping Octane's Gauntlet here. One thing that you need to remember about
One skull, two skull.
picking your hotspots in ranked is people are generally scared to drop hot. So in anything above Platinum, you can get away with dropping an Octane's Gauntlet. You can get away with dropping Skull Town, and at most maybe have to fight one team.
Looking for a select fire.
So a big thing here that we want to note is communication. That's obviously going to be the first and foremost. Number one thing that I would like to display is there's going to be constant communication between me and my team. Now, my Discord was a little messed up when I was recording, or when I was streaming this the other day. So my teammates' voices did not come through Discord onto my recording. That's fixed now, but they're not talking as much as I am. I was taking an in-game leader role, so most of the communication you're going to want to note is going to be coming from me anyway. I apologize for a little bit of lag.
Hammer points off it.
Mixer's VOD quality is not as good as Twitch. That is one of the main reasons I switched back to Twitch. So if your teammates are complaining to you saying that you need to be moving through and looting your original hot drops as quickly as possible, normally I would say they're right. But in a ranked match, if you want to win a ranked match, if you drop in a hot spot like Octane's Gauntlet, and you and your team are not taking the time to loot up the entire area and make a good, smart, looted rotation to the next fight, then you're wasting your own time and you're never going to improve. So here I made the call that we're going to rotate to Village only because of the teams that I saw drop early.
Dude, stray bullet.
So I'm going to bring up the map here. We're going to do a little bit of coaching. So we dropped here. This is an out-of-date map. It doesn't have Octane's Gauntlet stated on here, but not a big deal. So everyone knows Octane's Gauntlet is here. That's our initial drop. We saw one team drop Skull Town. We saw two teams drop Airbase, and we saw two teams drop Runoff. So what that tells me is that the teams coming from Airbase are going to be either moving towards us, which they didn't because we would have seen them by the time we got to the balloon. They're going to rotate towards Runoff, which they're going to make contact with that team, and that's a fight that we would love to get involved with in third party. Or they're going to clean up their fight here, and they're going to make their rotation to Village. Now, when they make that rotation to Village, that's something that we definitely want to jump on, especially since we have Balloon right outside of Gauntlet. That's going to give us that fast rotation so we can jump straight into the middle, even hit high ground up here up top. We can take pretty much any positioning on that fight that we want. You'll see us display that here. We're going to get a little bit closer to Village and start to make some play calls, make some fight calls that will alter our decisions based on how we can take third parties to maximize our loot. So let's go ahead and jump right back into the video.
Bullets from fucking Thunderdome almost hit you guys midair.
So we see the supply ship, and obviously that's not something that's going to be entirely looted, especially not in a ranked match. People are most likely just going to pick scraps and then run.
Oh my god.
So we get a few things, a little bit of syringes, couple nades, just stuff to top off our inventories. And at this point, this is where we're going to start making our way over towards Airbase, towards Village, all of that. You just want to ensure that you're constantly communicating with your team, constantly expressing your ideas, your thoughts on where you should be rotating, where did you see teams, where are you hearing teams fight. All of this is good information for your team to have. So we hear that fighting going on Airbase off to your left.
Oh yeah, that fight's gonna be juicy. Do you know how much loot we're gonna get if we fucking third party this, right?
So if you heard it, You just heard my teammate go up the balloon, right? Both of my teammates are taking balloon for scouting. So they're going to get up there and they're going to get information on that fight. And they're going to dish that off to me. Again, I apologize that you can't hear that. But they're going to be flying in here. One teammate's going to be flying in top rock so that he can get shots down with a sniper that he has. And the other teammate is going to be slow pushing with me from village. So at this point, K4 Champions is making the call that they're on top of the wall and down ramp.
I'm in close.
So at this point, I'm pushing in, going off of their longbow shots. Again, potato, potato, potato.
Lifeline low. She has no
Probably could have one-clipped her, but I potatoed the shit out of it.
Nice.
Now,
above me, I need help.
they're set up extremely well. This is definitely a fight that we want to take for the sole fact that we have ultimate height above where they are. But normally, if we were all three pushing from the low ground to try and take this fight, this would be something that we would want to back off, reset, and reevaluate. Especially since we don't have a Pathfinder to get a quick reposition on a high ground above them. This is not something that we want to take, because as you can see, the Pathfinder is right here positioned high, and then they're cutting off our ramp with the other two players, so there's no way that we could even cross and get parallel height to the Pathfinder, which is going to be right up here behind this truck, as I'm sure a lot of you know. And then the other way that we could get around is getting over here to the boxes, but by the time that happened, the Pathfinder would be able to get positioning here, pick shots on us, and then they would either be able to get a one-man or a two-man rotation over to here to get around behind us, and then we would just put ourselves in a worse position. So that's definitely something you want to think about. Your mid-game fight decision-making has to be quick, pristine, and communicated to the rest of your team. If you guys are split pushing or you're not coordinated and you don't know where each other are, then you're not going to be able to hold angles properly. So let's keep going. So teammate calls Pathfinder weak, so I'm going to throw a couple scare nades just to keep him back, keep him from pushing my team. Got a little hits. He tagged it. He called him out one shot, so I'm going to follow up on that.
Pathfinder up top. He's healing.
I see the weak Pathfinder. Clean up. Easy fight.
Yep.
Lots of calling out. Lots of repositioning. Lots of loot management. Really great fight altogether. Very well coordinated. Minimal damage taken. And now here's another one of those moments. A lot of people might think, why are you taking so long to loot? Why are you worried about grabbing so much stuff? Reason being, why not? We know that two teams dropped there and two teams dropped runoff. If the team from runoff did not react to that amount of shooting, then we don't need to worry about that team, and we can take this time to get the loot that we need. You know, I know again you can't hear my teammates, but they're low on ammo, they're low on health. They didn't get many healing items or too good of backpacks and nades, things of that nature. This is a great opportunity for us to take advantage of the time that we have to grab loot. Now, we're going to break this next part down. So this fight, as you can see, we've got a guy positioned high ground. Let's break down this fight. I want everyone to understand exactly what we do here and why we do it. So, the enemy is positioned here. He's on top of the tower that's inside a village. We're positioned here, here, and here. Now, even though we're running two snipers, we only have info on the one Pathfinder that's positioned high. We have no idea where his two teammates are because you always want to go into a fight assuming that you're going up against a team of three. Now, knowing that Pathfinder has that high ground, he has visibility over the entire battlefield, and we have visibility on him and nothing else. Now, we could either try and break fight, break contact, and move back through runoff, and then try and get a zone cutoff on them and bunker. But what could happen in that meantime? The Pathfinder could easily call that out to his teammates. His teammates could be here and here and make that easy rotation here, take this hill, take this compound, and cut off any means of approach that we have, turning our strat into their strat. Now they're cutting off our zone. So as opposed to straight pushing, which we could just run at him, but that's not going to be good if he's even halfway decent, which as you saw, I took 2 quick shots there, so he's got a somewhat decent shot, and that's just him by himself. He's going to do enough damage to us that we're going to be in a very bad position there. And then as I just explained, we don't want to get ourselves cut off from ring, so in a second, you're going to hear me make the call. Let's back off this. We don't want this fight. This is a bad fight. So that's where we're even... This is where if you're playing with randoms and they're communicating and they're doing well, but they're the type that just want to go aggressive. They just want to get kills. They just want to get kills on kills on kills. They don't care about wins, but you are playing ranked. This is a placement conscious ranked system. So from here, what we do is we break contact. We head around here, sticking to the high ground, get through airbase and make our way over to the balloon and the recovery beacon that's here so that we can eventually make our way over around bunker, and take control of one of the most important areas in the entire map, which I'll get to in a second. We're going to move on with the video. Let's get right back into it. Let's see how things play out.
Holy shit. Hey, this is a bad fight for us. You want to go back through airbase?
There we go. We make the call. My teammates get healthy, or at least healthy enough.
No, that's too far. Let's just
He
go
drops
airbase.
smoke and moves. Now, notice again, we're sticking to the high ground here. Obviously, we know that airbase is cleared out. We cleared it out ourselves. But that does not stop us from maintaining high ground the entire rotation.
No, there's no...
If a team randomly ballooned in on us, or if they popped out of the woodwork, if they were ratting in the rooms below us, then at that point, that would have been the moment where they jump up and they take advantage of the fact that we're on an easy rotation, thinking that we're in a good position. We don't have to worry about any other teams. That is the exact moment that they could have taken advantage of. All that was my teammate was calling out that the Pathfinder's still up on tower. I'm assuming he didn't see our rotation, or he just is slightly oblivious to what we're doing. Now, teammates call out. We got a team moving towards us. So at this point, I take high ground. I move to high ground and I move to a support role. Even though I don't have as long range of a kit, I can still put down solid damage with my flatline here, keeping the team back, suppressing them, getting their shields off, completely missing every single shot with the flatline.
Oh, they're all weak. They're all weak. They're all weak. We're good to push this.
Now you hear me there, I make the
One's
call
around
to
your
push.
left.
The only reason you ever want to make the call to push
One went
is if
left
you have
around
one
where I'm going.
or two broken shields on the other team, and that's completely broken and confirmed flesh damage.
He jumped up. He's
You
right
don't
here,
just
right
want to
here.
assume
He's
that
right
you
in front
did
of you,
enough
he's right
damage to break shields. Sometimes the damage indicators aren't as accurate as we'd like them to be. So always ensure that you're getting that flesh damage before you
Good
call to
shit,
your team
boys.
that they're one shot or that we should push or whatever the case is.
I think a team might be here.
Now this looting sequence is going to be a little bit faster than normal. I know personally I just wanted to get my gun switched over, get a little more ammo, and top off my meds, and then I wanted to get moving.
Yeah, I just need to grab a little more shit. I'm a little low.
So normally I wouldn't even recommend hitting that second bin. I was just looking for heavy ammo, seeing as how being comfortable with an AR or a submachine gun, you want to have 3 stacks of the ammo. But is it necessary? No. Is it comforting knowing that you have that? Yes.
Threat. Fuck yeah.
Really lucky loot right there. I found a battery and a digi-threat in a bin. That's pretty good.
Yeah, I see him at bunker. I just saw one run through bunker. Let's go find somewhere to get set up for a sec.
So here's another important portion of the game that we're going to break down here in a second.
I love Kev's
Now,
house.
they did see someone bunker. Could we push that? Absolutely. Could we wrap around to get in front of them? Absolutely. What do we do?
Fucking trap
We
it.
take a solid position inside of Chaos House, which I'll show you here in a second, and that gives us control over not only the center of the current zone, but the center of the map as a whole. We can see every rotation from almost every single hotspot from this one centrally located position.
Ah, shit. I'm putting a disruptor down.
Note this disruptor spot. This is a really good disruptor spot for buildings with this build.
Let's just let this next zone rotate in, and then we'll start pushing fights again.
So here you're going to see me finish fencing up.
I mean, hell, if you can shoot him, shoot him.
I'm making the call to my teammates to ensure that they know that they're good to take rooftop and get some
Hey, we
strafe
don't have to
shots
stay
in,
here
maybe
forever.
poke down some enemy
I
teams.
don't want to get called on any gatekeeps or anything crazy. Give everybody time to rotate.
All right, let's take a second here and let's explain why this building is so important to the game as a whole. So the building we're in is this one right here. It's that building right there, center map, perfect positioning. It's got a huge rock right next to it. It's the rock is about right here, and then it's got a couple little buildings north of it. It does have a hill in front and behind it, but why doesn't that matter? Both of the hill's locations do not have any free shooting windows from either side. So there's this hill right here that the teams can push down in, but by the time they get to you, they've got about 100 yards of flat ground that they have to cross until they make it to you. Same thing from bunker. They have a slight uphill advantage, but by the time they get to you within 100 yards of you, they're on flat ground, they're below you. And then same thing comes from any of these rotations up here on hill. By the time they get down to you, not only do they have to cross a river and slow their movement through water, but they also end up hitting flat ground and having to climb just to get to your building. This is optimal position for everything. Not only that, but each of these routes that I just drew for teams to push you from, including caves and river, all of those routes are also routes that you and your team can use to escape, especially if you have a Pathfinder. Lots of great Pathfinder zip lines. You can zip yourself up to these rocks right here and then get shots down on these buildings. You can zip yourself straight to caves. You can zip yourself straight to the hill. Lots of really great rotations. This is an excellent building to hold. If you and your teammates are a little uncomfortable, maybe you don't have as much loot as you'd like, or maybe you just want to see where the rotations are going, see what's happening with the map so far, or this lobby. This is a great spot to bunker down, get some information on the lobby, get some information on the map, and move accordingly. So let's jump back into the gameplay and let's see how me and my team play this out.
If you can take shots. Oh, damn. Oh, yeah, I see what you're talking about. Oh, yeah, he's ran up.
Already getting great
They're probably
information,
setting up in
seeing that
that
there's a
building. Oh, no,
team,
he's going high, he's going high.
team low side that's jumping up to those two buildings. Those are also a really solid set of buildings. So what's the reason for doing
There's
tap?
going up balloon behind them.
What's the reason going for all these tap shooting, right? So resources. Resources are absolutely invaluable towards the end of the game. When everyone's in these little heal-offs, when everyone's in these resource fights, so you're just sitting there tapping the other team, they're tapping you, you're backing off, getting in the generator, you're healing, going, re-challenging. So what those fights really come
Just
down
standing
to
still.
is
Oh, is that a
absolutely
decoy?
not
That's a decoy, I'm dumb.
gun skill
I'm
or
just a
anything
bot, don't
crazy
worry
like
about
that. What it comes down to is resource management. How many resources do you have?
I got that. single-
Anyone at an average skill level can take a fight and disengage that fight effectively enough that they can get out
I got no shot on that. Oh, he's peeking. He's
of
peeking
that they can get out of the fight effectively without
I hit him
dying.
20.
But
Gold
it
armor.
doesn't matter how many times they make it out of the fight if they've already burned all of their resources in the mid game
Hey,
from
guys, stand
teams
inside the,
like
distributor to
us
get your shields
who
up.
are sitting up on top of the roof and tap firing them down. Making them waste those cells, making them waste those batteries, those syringes, those med kits, whatever it is. You want
The
to
zone's
burn
all
your
closed, so we can
enemy
push
team's
out pretty soon.
resources.
Yeah, we can play that drop. You guys.
You also just heard me make the call. Use the generator. Don't waste cells. That just
Hey,
plays
Doc.
right back into what I was saying.
4, 3. No. All right.
Calling out that there's a care package. Now, why do we want to play this care package? Two reasons. One, for the obvious, we want those
Yeah, I'll push out.
we want those gold knockdown shields, those gold backpacks. We want the massive. We want the
Yeah, you
Kraber,
wanna change to that
obviously.
house?
But the bigger reason, the one thing
How
that
the fuck
people
do you even get up
don't
there?
think about when they're talking about getting these care packages
I can't get
is
up there.
denying the enemy teams the
Let's get this-
resources that you
we need a
receive
Pathfinder.
from those care
Let's
packages.
just get in here.
It's great that your team has a Mastiff or a Kraber or whatever it is, but it's
Setting this
even
house up.
more important that the enemy teams don't have those resources, so you can confidently know that any team within the immediate
There you go.
vicinity,
Yeah, you
unless
little
you've
monkey, you
already
get it.
identified that there's a Kraber or a Mastiff on an enemy team, you're most likely going to be
Oh,
in
beautiful.
control
Oh,
of the
yeah.
main gun. And you'll see my teammate here, he picks up a Kraber.
I'm good. I'm good.
That's going to come into
The
huge
fights are
play
gonna start getting
later.
Closer and closer. Hey, just get down here as quick as you can. Unless you're setting up once you're here.
Now, a lot of people at this point are going to call me a bunker rat. They're going to call me a camper. They're going to say that I'm what's wrong
Honestly,
with
this
Apex.
is some big dick positioning.
But the reason we're doing this, again, is to gather information, find out how the map is playing out, and
But
where
then
the
we're
lobby is
already past the
rotating.
point in the game where that
But you'll
matters.
see here in a second, the moment we get a pick, especially in
Alright, don't
gold,
open
plat,
these
and
doors
diamond
so
elo,
that we don't break 'em.
the moment you get a pick on an enemy team and you're in a confident position, you need to bust
Alright,
out
okay,
of your
okay,
positioning and
yep.
get on that team. Should be happening here any second.
Oh, you're
Boom.
nasty. Go, go. I'm going.
Chance
I'm
gets the
going.
longbow pick, and I
I'm
make instantaneously make the call that we are all rushing that fight right away. I'm
Yep.
Watson. I have no movement abilities, but I'm still getting up
You're
there.
hitting the back wall. You're hitting the back wall.
Spamming nades, not too effective, but he's still keeping the enemy team on their toes. We get up there. We manage
You
to
won.
get enough damage down to pop
Nice.
this Watson. And now there's only one sensible place for the enemy team to be. Even higher up on the high
He's trying to
ground.
portal out. He's trying to portal out.
Smart play on the enemy Wraith trying to get that
I'll take
portal
your
out.
fucking portal out. Don't fuck with me. Yeah, here. You two go.
The
you two go.
game, for some reason, the frame rate stays high on the
Wait,
recording,
come-
but
come
it
back,
keeps
come back. You're gonna get pinched. You're gonna get pinched. It's
jumping
fine.
in and out.
Oh shit! He's here. He's here. He's here. He's here.
Wraith
he's here.
takes portal back. I give her the old hip
One,
fire
one.
duty.
Nice.
Bada boom, bada bing. Refresh my resources.
I'm going. I got it. I got it.
Trap up this portal. And then again, you see Justice Designer gets a knock. But at this point in the game, why don't we push? The reason we don't push is because we know that the team he got the knock from is engaged in another team. Could we push? Absolutely. But why not let the other team waste their resources and do the work for you?
Go back to the house. Go back to the house.
Quick tidbit, at this point in the game, you definitely don't want to be getting touched by zones. That's a lot of damage that you are not going to be able to recover from too quickly. So if at all available, you definitely want to be avoiding needless damage like that.
One free shots on these guys.
I see a bunch of people hunkered down in a little corner, so I call it out to my 2 longbow players. Too bad, like an idiot, I run right in front of them and block like 3 or 4 of their shots. They said that to me, but you couldn't hear it.
Good shot.
Again, just a designer gets the knock. We make the call. We're pushing in.
I got nades out.
If at all available, you always want your farthest back man to be throwing nades into this fight, just to, you know, get them out of their positioning like that Pathfinder just had to. Get them rattled, get them off their game.
Nice.
In that particular fight, I wish I did have the Discord audio, only because my teammates in that instance my teammates in that instance were doing shot calling, so they were calling targets that we were targeting, which was quite vital to us winning that fight.
Hey, house is out. Let's just start rotating.
Now, after all that commotion, we were a part of 3 squads getting wiped out of the server when you're in a top 10 situation. At that point, you've got to know that the area that you're in, there aren't going to be any squads left. If they are, you're already being shot at. We make the call for the last squad.
We can go.
One tap with the Kraber. Forget rotating. Why even need to rotate? I jump up and immediately take whatever height I can. It's not much, but any height is vital. We get another break on the Watson.
Got her.
We get the knock. We know that's 2 down. We have information on the last teammate. I get us a walkway through. We push in instantaneously. Somewhat beautiful tracking. We finish the game up.
Boom.
So big takeaways that I would really love for you guys to take from this is you want good positioning, solid callouts, resource management, and know your rotations. As long as your team is working together, moving together, pushing together, playing together, you're going to start picking up wins. Take the specifics that I gave you in this video, apply them to your friends, and start climbing these elos. Basically, I think it's 32% of players in the game are stuck in gold, and I think another 40-something% are stuck in silver. Don't be stuck there because of simple mistakes like not knowing to take high ground, not knowing how to rotate the map effectively when you have resources like myself, like a couple of my friends that are also coaches, who can teach you these simple tricks to get you from silver to gold, to get you from gold to platinum, and to get you from platinum to diamond. My name is Ninja Cowboy, official Apex Legends coach. All of my links for my socials will be in the description below. If you're interested in coaching, please hit my DMs on Twitter, join my Discord, Instagram, comment down below on this YouTube video. We'll get connected, and as always, check me out live on Twitch. This has been Ninja Cowboy. See you next time.